Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wait Where We Talk About podcast, episode 229. My name is Bret, aka Enigma911, and today we're joined by Moose. Shocker, we're always joined by Moose. If you guys want to catch the podcast live, you can always go over to twitch.tv, twitch.tv/Enigma9011. You can drop a follow over there. You get notified when we go live. You join on the fun and conversation with us. But if you can't catch it live, that's a-okay. Go over to YouTube the very next week where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, anyway, you can support the show. Like, shares, reviews, whatever it is. It may seem small, but it does help the channel grow. So if you take the time to do that, we love it and appreciate you for it. So yes, we're back with the podcast. Sorry for the little bit of the gap there. Just been a mixture of things going on. Not sure what to talk about, and then mental stuff and whatnot. So I feel bad about that. But we are back. We're going to be talking about, I don't know how deep diving we'll be getting into stuff, but just some kind of, I guess, what would you call it? Top level stuff. What have been playing? What's going on wrestling wise? Some movie trailer stuff. We kind of doing all of that. Just general talk about those things that have happened in the meantime that have caught my interest, and we'll go from there. But before we jump into it, remember, Extra Life 2024 is coming up on November 29th. That is a Friday. It's going to be starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, going for 24 hours to help raise money for Extra Life and Children's Miracle Network hospitals. 24 hours of games to help those guys out. Wide variety of titles we'll be playing, from Fortnite, Family Feud, Windjammers is making a return. So it should be a good time if you guys would like to help and support. There's a few ways you could do it. Obviously, number one is watching. That's always a great way to help. Just be in there talking with us, giving us the energy back. Number two, if you can, donating is awesome. And number three, if you can't help financially, no worries, but spreading the word helps out more than you know. So if you take the time to do that, any of those links that you do see, you can share those either leading up to the show or the stream or day of. That does help out immensely. So if you have the time to do that, that would be wonderful. So yes, let's jump into topic number one. Let's talk some MCU trailers to kick off. So during this little hiatus, not D23, but some presentation has gone down, I believe in Brazil, and we got to see some new trailers for the new Captain America movie, Brave New World, and Thunderbolts. And going into these films, we've kind of talked about in the past with the MCU how it's kind of been, I guess, hit or miss in some ways. Some movies we've definitely enjoyed more, and then the interest level's been a little bit down, and we're not sure why that is in terms of me. Like, I don't know if I've reached that level of burnout. But some of the projects, while I know, like, they're coming out and things like that, the excitement hasn't been super there. Even in terms of the TV shows, like, I still haven't watched Echo, which came out a while ago. As of recording, I know Agatha All Along just wrapped up their episodes maybe a week ago, maybe two. And I've heard great things about that one, but I haven't started that. So I've been kind of out of the loop, I guess you could say. Being the last thing I watched was Deadpool. Obviously, that was the last movie, but anything Marvel related, that's been the last thing that I watched. And then even then, being all caught up wasn't necessarily what I was doing. But seeing these two trailers, they had a teaser previously, or maybe an initial trailer from Comic-Con or something similar that had released. These second trailers have really gotten me interested in these new movies that are coming out this year. The way they're presenting the Captain America movie, with Thunderbolt Ross obviously being president, and then his transformation in the Red Hulk, which we are seeing. I think they're trying to keep it a little secretive that it's him. Granted, comic book fans, we already know that's the case. So it's kind of this inside the government, almost kind of, I guess, calling back to Captain America 2. Wow, what the hell? Winter Soldier. Wow, I was like, what the hell was the subtitle? With the whole S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra infiltration. It's kind of akin to that in terms of, obviously, the hierarchy or the powers that be, and then being corrupted from the inside. the second trailer really kind of built up that suspense, or at least presented it in a suspenseful way, which I really appreciated. I'm not sure how the Serpent Society and Giancarlo Esposito, I believe is the last name, not sure how his character and their organization is going to fit into this. Shout out to Seth Rollins being in part of this movie. I thought all of his stuff was being cut. Apparently he hasn't been, so I'm excited to see what his role was. Hopefully it's something and not just soldier number one. But interested to see how they come into play, and if they are going to have a, not substantial, but like something that actually affects the story, and they don't feel like side B villains in comparison to Red Hulk. Like, I'm sure Red Hulk is going to take the forefront, right? Just being this imposing figure, obviously being the president here. Like, it's going to be that big twist, but I want both villains to feel involved, I guess, or having ramifications for their actions, whatever thing we need to call it, or it should be called. But yeah, I'm excited to see Sam in the Captain America suit. I mean, what they've shown in the second trailer looks really cool. There's a few things that I question, and I guess there's some that are explained, like we did see in Falcon and Winter Soldier, Disney Plus series. We did see that he did get the new suit. I think they said it's vibranium based or built, which would add up to why he can fly super fast, why he can do that little shockwave burst from his suit in landing. There is one question I do have. Sam doesn't have the super soldier serum, so, and maybe this is something that's explained in the comics, and maybe I have a small theory of how it does work, and that is actually how it works. I don't know. Sam doesn't have the super soldier serum. We've obviously seen him practicing throwing the shield. There's certain times where I think they've shown him throwing it like really, really hard or really, really far. And I'm like, how does that work? Like, just being the human muscle, like, that doesn't check out. Or like, if Hulk does punch him, right? Well, him specifically, I assume the suit's going to be the catch here, where the suit will absorb it. It'll still be Black Panther-esque, where he'll fly around. But maybe that'll explain why he doesn't die from getting punched. But even with, like, the shield, if Hulk punches the shield, I guess the shield and the vibranium is absorbing that energy, so that's why it doesn't affect Sam as much. But then you gotta also question, like, with Sam flying in a recoil from the punch, once again, akin to Black Panther in earlier series. And then, like, okay, blocks with the shield, punches, they do that little, the feet in the ground, the pushy thing. How does that not affect him? I guess the feet pushy thing would be the suit absorbing it as well. There's a lot of leeway here, or questioning of just like, is it just all the vibranium just absorbing and then going back thing? If it is that, okay, suspension of disbelief can kick in there. That's just one thing I've kind of scratched my head at with the second trailer and the initial trailer. Is just like, oh yeah, how does that work out? With also the second trailer, we did see the new Falcon. I'm not remembering the gentleman's name, whether the actor or the character from Falcon and Winter Soldier series, so I do apologize there. But we have that new guy as Falcon. I'm curious if he'll also have wings. I assume so. His name is Falcon. Or if he's just sidekick and he's not actually named Falcon. I don't know how that's going to work out. But interested to see what he brings to the table. I think that's it from Captain America, but it looks cool, suspenseful. I believe that's February that does come out. And then Thunderbolts looks fun. I'm not going to lie, there's moments where I forget Ghost is even part of the MCU from Ant-Man 2. But Thunderbolts, we got in the initial trailer this kind of like they're all meeting, kind of like Avengers, how they had the forest scene with Thor, Iron Man, and Cap, beating each other up in the forest, not knowing each other super duper well. They kind of had this with Thunderbolts, like, oh, we're all going to be sent to this room or invited to this room and then trapped in there, and then we fight each other. So you have new Black Widow, Yelena, right? You have her, you have Ghost, you have Agent 13, freaking U.S. Soldier, what the hell is his name? faux Captain America, angry Captain America. You have him. Wow, why am I blanking on everybody in the Thunderbolts now? I feel like they had somebody else in there as well. We have the power of the internet right in front of us. Let's use it. And then we also get the reveal of Bob being in there, or I believe that's his name, who's going to be Sentry originally, is going to be Sentry, not originally, eventually. Now, I don't know much about Sentry. I know he was involved in, I believe, the Civil War storyline. He's kind of like a Superman-esque type figure. So I don't know what his whole shtick is, but we will have to see. So yeah, I guess it was just those guys in the room. Oh, Taskmaster. Taskmaster was also in the room. I do apologize. So they get in the brawl. Bob reveals himself as just a dude. But eventually we'll build to that. In the second trailer, we got the addition of Red Guardian making his return, and then Bucky being involved, Winter Soldier. Seems like Soldier is going to be hunting them down, at least at the initial part, but then they do end up teaming together. You know, talking out loud, I don't remember what they set up in this trailer to even be like a villain. If it was just them learning to work together. I know, what's her face? I never remember her character's name. Louise Dreyfus, whoever her character is, Valentina, I believe. I know, obviously, she's the one putting them together. We do see them. Oh, that's the big revelation here. We finally get the reveal of who bought Avengers Tower. It is Valentina with whatever organization she's part of, if it's not just the Thunderbolts. But we don't know really why they are teaming together, why they've been brought together, at least to my recollection. So that's going to be something interesting. But I did really like in this second trailer seeing more of the, I guess you could say, comedy aspect of things. Just them, their rapport, bouncing off each other. You know, they're all obviously their own egotistical people, especially U.S. Agent being like, oh, I've been Captain America. And they're like, no, you've been Captain America for a minute. So it's going to be Guardians-esque, Suicide Squad-esque, where it's, you know, just take all these random elements and throw them together. It's going to be interesting to see those relationships and dynamic grow throughout the movie, and I think this trailer did a good job of pulling me in, of being like, you know what, yeah, I do actually want to see this. But yeah, no setup, as I'm kind of quickly scanning through this trailer here, no real setup of a villain. You do have that moment once again of Bucky hunting them down. So that will just be something that we'll have to keep an eye out for, and hopefully they have an interesting plot line, you know, to keep them going. Is it just, hey, we're going to send you on mission, and hopefully you work out together? Also, what is Valentina's, like, motive for throwing them together? I don't know a lot about the Thunderbolts, so I do apologize there. But cool to see these characters again. What's Ghost been doing since, you know, ages ago of Ant-Man 2? Taskmaster, what's she been up to since escaping with the other Black Widows? We've seen a little bit of Yelena with the Hawkeye series. U.S. Agent obviously going through all of his stuff. He's got a new shield here. Bucky we haven't seen since Falcon and Winter Soldier, if I last recall. Yeah. And then Red Guardian, haven't seen him since the Black Widow movie. So, yeah, time will tell. But seeing these trailers, I did get a lot more interested in those two films. I think Thunderbolts is later in the year. So, yeah, have to keep an eye on that. And then, yeah, just in terms of the TV series, I know What If Season 3 got shown and announced, and this is going to be the last one there. Personally, I've really enjoyed What If. I know it's been, seems like a little bit hit or miss. I just like the short, balls to the wall, just random stories that they have done and constructed here. I think what we did see, there was like a Avengers, Power Rangers, like Megazord type thing that they did show. I think they showed Storm with Mjolnir in one of the episodes. So I'm excited to see that, and that's right around the corner. That's in a month. So looking forward to seeing that roll out. Curious why they're ending it. Obviously, animation's a lot of work there. So maybe it's just the turnaround, because I feel like it's been consistent of yearly. At least last year, I believe season 2 came out around the same time period, holidays. So maybe it's just that turnaround. Who knows? But it was a fun project. I did enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to the third season there. I think we saw more shots from the animated Spider-Man show. That looks neat. Interested how that ties in, if it ties in, or if it's just a fun, separate universe Spider-Man series. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that stood out to me. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, in terms of the series stuff, I just got to catch up, and then also, not have to, but I'm curious, what is this mental block that doesn't want to make me catch up or make me watch these programs? And yeah, if it's just like we talked about in the past, that burnout or hitting that wall finally of like, there's nothing really dragging me in. Or bringing me in. Maybe I should just dip my toe in here or there, whether it's the films or just select projects. We'll have to see. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed those trailers or anything caught your eye, let me know, and I'd be definitely down to talk about them as we go on. Moving on to topic 2, let's catch up on some games that I've been playing. And we got some fun ones in terms of like our end of the year discussions. Like we've been doing the podcast towards the end of the year, not game of the year specific, but just like what's our personal game of the year. I know I've been doing those with Jeff the past 2 years, maybe 3 years even, I don't remember, and that's been a good time. I don't know if we'll be doing the same format this year with Jeff being out of streaming, but regardless, so I've been playing some more games off stream, even on stream too, that have just been a lot of fun. I've been really enjoying diving into head on, yeah, and experiencing those. First one is an indie that I didn't even know was coming out, but it's I learned about it. I know Vicarious worked on it. I don't remember how I saw this. It was just kind of quick in passing on social media. Maybe it was PlayStation blog posting about it or whatnot. It's called Vampire Hunters. So we've talked about it in the past, but Brotato I've really been enjoying this year, where it's that top-down, almost Vampire Survivors like, which we've also been playing a shit ton of Vampire Survivors in the past couple months now that's been on PlayStation. So I've been really enjoying those pick guns, survive, run around, shoot around, just survive those 20 minutes, go boom, 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 upgrade your character, and hopefully make it to the final wave. I've been really enjoying those games this year, especially as a zone out thing, and Vampire Hunters is another one of these games, but the difference between, for example, the Vampire Survivors and Brotato is this is a first-person shooter. You're still not, you can manually pull the triggers, it's still automatic, and you don't have to really worry about that aspect. It's more the dodging and then surviving and that strategy. But Vampire Hunters, it's first person, and you are shooting all these bad guys that are arriving. I've dipped my toe into it. I haven't played too much. I will say they don't do a great job of onboarding you and explaining what to do or what to upgrade or where your focus should be. They kind of just throw you into it to explore and discover for yourself and learn about. So I played a little bit here and there, but you have your guns. There's wide variety: assault rifles, SMGs, missile launchers, power-ups and magic orbs that you can throw, but you can have up to 12 weapons, which can be absolutely insane, and you're just trying to survive till the end of the timer. I don't think I've made it all the way through, but it's been a fun time to jump into if it's something that you want to just kind of turn on, play, have a podcast on in the background, or just jump into it for a few minutes. I definitely highly recommend it. There are permanent upgrades. There's different characters that you can play around with, each with their own different stats and buffs, which I haven't delved too much into. I think I've just played that first initial character, so I can't speak too highly on that. One thing that I did really enjoy, so after surviving for so long, they'll add like bosses that you can fight throughout, and there's some fun ones in there that have different gimmicks. Like there's one that's an egg with its little feet like sticking out of the eggshell, and it will run around, and if you don't defeat it in time, it will like burst from the egg and be this big dragon monster. And then it's an even tougher thing to deal with. The Scorpion King. Yeah, that Scorpion King. He's in this game for some reason, which took me by surprise, running into him for the first time. So it's fun. It's goofy. Like I said, it's one of those things you can kind of tune out to and just chill with, which is nice. So I would check that out if you have the time and you like that type of a game and genre, Vampire Hunter. Next one we did play on stream was Dredge. Now I'm getting to this one late. I think it came out last year, and a lot of people were hyping it up, talking about it, how awesome it was. And it was an amazing time. We played this for a week on stream, played it all the way through. This is a weird combination. It's a cozy fishing game with a dark, twisted backstory. So you're a fisherman who's, I guess you could say, applying for a job, showing up for a job. You crash your boat on the island. You talk to the mayor. He's like, yeah, your ship is wrecked, but we can loan you this one. You'll just have to pay it off, pay off to own it. And you just got to fish for us. So you take the job, you do that, you get this boat, and you can upgrade it, get different rods and like hydraulic lifts and nets you can fish with, and it's all hunky-dory. And as you go along, you learn that like this area's kind of got something going on, as some of the fish will be looking not so great, and if you stay out too late at night, you'll start seeing things and hallucinating. Maybe it's another boat that you think it's a friend, or it's this weird red mist that will chase you down, or rocks will just appear out of nowhere. And the story is one of those things where the more you explore and search for things, I think you'll get more out of it. There's a few endings to it, but the ride the whole way was a lot of fun, figuring out different puzzles and how to not catch certain different fish, but like just meet the requirements of like, oh, I need this equipment to get this fish from this place, to do this, to go here, to do that, talk to this person to get this resource. It's a very rewarding system, and the mini games for the fishing don't get boring. They do vary it up, whether it's depending on the type of fishing that you're doing, which I did appreciate. Like, it's a small touch. They're all very simple mini games, so it's a small touch that really adds to the depth of the game to make you keep going and not just be repetitive, boring type thing, which I did really appreciate. And then your boat is like your soulmate in a weird way. Investing in the boat and seeing how you've improved since the beginning is awesome. Like, I can remember boating around at the very beginning and be like, wow, this thing is slow. Like, it takes so long to get just across that part of the ocean to an opposite island that's not all that far away. But once you start upgrading, get like faster engines, man, you are zooming around the ocean, collecting all these fish, getting, money out the ace to do even more upgrades and whatnot. So if you've missed out on Dredge, I highly recommend that. Cozy in a way, but got that underlying tone. So you should definitely check that out. We will have our playthrough going up on YouTube as well, those VODs. So if you want to check that out before you dip your toes into it, it'll be up for you soon. And then last game I'm going to talk about is one that I was very excited for when it was initially coming out. Kind of dipped my toes into it, played a little bit, and then just it wasn't hooking me at the time, and kind of just moved on to other things. But Jedi Survivor. So with the recent world events that week or that night, kind of wanted a little bit of distraction, so I wasn't doom scrolling. And I was like, all right, comfort food, do this, do that. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to dive into Jedi Survivor. Just fully, whoosh, this is your focus. And man, was that a right decision. Obviously, the next morning wasn't great, but but diving into Jedi Survivor has been a lot of fun, and I can't believe this didn't hook me as hard as it has hooked me now in the past. I absolutely loved Fallen Order. That was one of my favorite games that I had streamed when that had come out, absolutely adored it. And jumping into Jedi Survivor, it's been more of the same. Obviously, they have expanded on what they allow you to do in terms of customization. The saber customization you get right off the bat. There's certain elements that you can work towards and unlock in terms of like different hilts and pieces that you can customize even further for your saber throughout, but that's nice. And then there's also your robot BD1. You can customize his look as well as Cal's look throughout the whole thing. Whether you change his hair, his beard, his outfit, whatever it is. So that element of customization, usually I don't partake in that too much with games, just because I like the base look. Sounds bad, but the look that the designers put out there for like, oh, this is what they're supposed to look like for this story. Usually I don't mess with that, but I have enjoyed it here in this game and messing around with that. So like my Cal's got like a beard and a top knot and kind of looks semi-Jedi-esque in terms of cloaks and robes. And then last night, changed my lightsaber. I changed it initially to like more of his traditional saber with a yellow blade. I just changed it last night to look completely different with a green blade. I was kind of hoping, and maybe this is an option like after you beat the game, but with this customization suite, they've added a lot more pieces that you can change, but they've also added material types. So you can make your lightsaber like, oh, I want this to look pristine, brand new out of the box, or you can make it look worn down. There's different materials where you can make it look copper, iron, gold, or just random other colors that you'll unlock as you explore. And there's like primary, secondary, tertiary, all these different elements that you can change around. But there's one I found last night that was like an imperial color spectrum, I guess you could say. And I don't know if this will be available post-game. I'm trying to remember if Fallen Order even had it available post-game, but like a red blade could be like, oh, I can make an evil version of Cal. That's been a lot of fun to mess around with. I do wish that there were presets. So like for the sabers, for example, because that's at least what I'm probably going to be messing around with the most. I wish you could save like, oh, this is Saber 1, all these customizations, and then 2, 3, 4, however many sets you wanted to make. Unfortunately, that's not there, so you have to either take a photo or remember what all elements you wanted or had if you want to go back to that certain build, I guess you could say, after you're done messing around with it. But that's been fun to play around with and see what they've added to this. But Jedi Survivor, in terms of gameplay, this one, it's more of the same in terms of that semi-Dark Souls-esque play where you have your parries, you have a little bit tougher enemies, you got to focus on your dodging and whatnot, especially early on. That is back in this title, or in this version, this sequel. But also they've expanded the world significantly. Obviously Fallen Order had decent-sized maps. Some of them very confusing to navigate, looking at you, Dothamir. But now they've added more open worlds, which I think I've really been enjoying, and that's probably what's gotten its hooks into me perhaps the most. So the second planet you're on in Kobo, most of my time has been running around there and just kind of exploring all the different paths that they do have to offer. There's rumors that they give you, which are kind of like side quests that you can help the pedestrians and civilians there with. There's different collectibles along with the sabers, the outfits, the BD1 parts and whatnot. There's a lot of things that you can search for, collect, find. I've really been enjoying that part, and it's allowed me once again to zone out and kind of just immerse myself in what I'm doing and just forget everything else. It's really been bringing me in there, which I've been enjoying. And then the times that those times that I do focus on the main story's been really, really intriguing as well. So we pick up after Fallen Order, the crew that we had kind of built together with Grease and Seer and Marin. They've all kind of split apart, and it's you now on your own eventually, reconnecting with these individuals, seeing what they've been doing over these couple years. I don't know the time gap. But then Cal's still on his path of just like protecting those who are against the Empire, and a little bit of, I think it's mainly just protecting that, because he did have the option of like rebuilding the Jedi thing with the holocron of the Force sensitive individuals that we destroyed. Spoilers. So I think it's more just finding refuge so those people don't have to keep running. So that's the main journey here, and the elements that I've run into so far in terms of narrative, whether it is seeing what the past cast of characters has done in this time gap, and then also the opposition that Cal is facing and coming up against, I've been like, yep, I'm in. This is cool. I had a moment last night playing 2 where I was just like, holy shit, that was amazing. It was one of those moments, like I know people talk about Uncharted a lot, and I can't remember if it's 2 or 3, but the train sequence in Uncharted, people like, this is a moment in this game that is just awesome. I feel like I had that experience in Jedi Survivor last night. And yeah, it's just been an amazing time playing that. I know at launch it had a little bit of bugs and like frame drops and stuttering here or there. I've noticed it a little bit even a year out, but I feel like it's smoothed out since. I've been playing it more and more, which is nice. I'm excited to keep diving into this. I've been playing it like here or there, so story-wise I don't know where I am in terms of progress, or how close we are to being done. But also, like I said, I am really kind of taking my time exploring these worlds. Not fully, because it is definitely Metroidvania where, you don't have that skill yet, you can't go this way. But there is a lot that you can explore, which I do appreciate, where it challenges you in terms of whether it's a puzzle or a platforming test or whatever it is. I have enjoyed that, and enjoyed running into the different enemies that they do have to offer, whether it is Imperial Stormtroopers and the variants there, or just the wildlife. Man, boy, if you thought the Ogobago from the first one, wait till you meet a certain other frog, because you're going to be fighting him a lot. But that's been a lot of fun, along with the other ones that we have run into. And yeah, just the side stuff that they have added. There's a lot of content out there besides the main story that they have added. Shout out to Scuvistev, I believe his name is. He's my favorite character. He's awesome, even though I don't remember his name correctly, but he's hilarious. Helping him out, helping the different civilians out. There's a cool board game, like hollow table, like strategy game that you can play in one of the areas that I really enjoyed. Yeah, just looking forward to exploring more of this, seeing what other worlds there are out there to explore. Right now, I think I've done 4 worlds, varying in size, of course. But yeah, excited to see how much farther this does go. And some of those fights, man, it doesn't feel as difficult as Fallen Order did in the early stages, and maybe this is just my comfortability, or just I don't know what I'm going for. My level of playing these games being more fluid with it. Just being used to the dodge, being used to the parry, being used to the combinations, whatever it is. This has felt a lot of fun. And when you get more and more comfortable with it, it just feels rewarding. Like, I love blasting around, force pull this enemy and slash, go to the next one, slash, dodge, parry this, broke your armor, do that. Once you get into that flow state, as I've heard people call it, it's just amazing. It just adds to that game, and it's a lot of fun. Especially for me, like, I can't imagine. I'm really bad game-wise of, I find something that I really like, or I get used to in terms of like a game mechanic, for example. the saber stances. All your saber stances are there. Well, not all of them. All of the ones you got in Fallen Order are there at the beginning. So you can use the single blade. You can use two blades. You can use like Darth Maul style. You can use all those, and they have their different application times. Appropriate application, like, oh, it's a group. Oh, you gotta do fast strikes, whatever. I've been just going that single blade stance. And using that and like really being like, yep, this is it. I'm doing everything. I can't imagine jumping around, like how that's going to feel once I start dipping my toes into those. And being like, oh, yep, this is great too. This game does also add two stances. So you do get a pistol at some point. So you can have that gun, almost Bloodborne-esque. Use your shot, go with the single lightsaber blade, go from there. And then they also did the Kylo Ren, where you have the cross guards. That one seems more heavy striking, like a longsword-esque. But I haven't messed around with those two too much. You can only have two equipped at a time, which is a little saddening. I wish there was an easier way to switch between the two, or the 5 that you do have. But I get it. But yeah, I've been sticking with that single blade, and I've been loving it. Just like I said, when it all works, when it goes together, it's been really rewarding. So it's going to be interesting once we get towards that end of the year conversation. I feel like there's quite a few candidates for my personal game of the year that have really stuck out to me this year, and Survivor is definitely crawling up in terms of like, hey buddy, you want to pick me? But we'll see. But that's what I've been playing right now. There's a few more titles that I'm looking forward to playing. As of recording tonight, we're going to be jumping into Blackmouth Wukong, so excited to see what that's like. And then there's plenty more. Don't want to list them here, but check out down the road, December time. We'll recap the whole year. All right, moving on to topic 3. Let's talk wrestling. We always jump to wrestling. That's our default. That's our bread and butter. So yeah, Survivor Series is coming up, so just kind of want to talk about that, and then what's been going on in NXT, just the grand scheme of things. It's a very, once again, I said top layer stuff earlier. I don't know, I can't think of the term, the phrase, but just kind of over general blanket statement of thoughts and feelings of things going on. So let's talk about first, shout out to Chris Bay. I hope he's doing okay. We haven't heard anything from his injury over in TNA since it's happened. It seems like it's pretty serious, which is highly unfortunate. I hope he's doing okay. It sounds like people who's talked to him seems like he's in high spirits, but no injury updates, no knowledge of what the injury is, so I'm scared there. But all in all, just best wishes to him. Hopefully he recovers, or is at least happy and healthy moving forward. NXT, let's quickly talk about NXT. Ladies are killing it in NXT. We got Julia and Cora Jade. We got Julia and Stephanie Vaquer getting more and more comfortable and performing very well. We had Zarya show up not too long ago, formerly known as Delta. Excited to see more from her and see what she brings to the table. Jordan Grace popped back in recently, which is cool. I think her contract's like next year early, so maybe we'll see more of her down the line. But the ladies seem to have been really doing a great job down there. Trying to think of anything else down there. I'm not sure what's going on with the men's picture right now. We got Ridge the Fridge going after Trick, which I have nothing against Ridge. He's just not perhaps the most exciting, so I don't know what's on the cusp for Trick Williams. He's already beaten Ethan Page, who've done that program. Sean Spears, I believe, is still injured and is working with Brooke Jensen. I don't know who's on the up and up really for contenders for Trick. Like, I'm glad Trick's champion, but I don't really see a scene around him, which is a little concerning. It seems like the ladies are taking the forefront, which, I mean, nothing wrong with that. It's just like, ooh, yeah, this is a lacking division right now. So we'll have to see how that plays out going forward. I know we've got a lot of WWE ID people from the indies that are kind of being signed on, whatever the ID signing thing even is, limitations wise, what they can do. I don't know if that means any of them are going to be hopping over to WWE sooner rather than later. So I don't know if they'll come into play. Shout out to Jack Cartwheel. So he was one of the recruits there, so that's awesome. Shout out to Papa Griff as well for recommending that match over in AEW for one of their pre-shows of his match. Very entertaining. I know Hikuleo's been signed for a minute, and I think he was talked about on NXT, not like verbally on screen, but I feel like they had him listed on their plans somewhere backstage. I thought I heard going around, so maybe Hikuleo's the one that comes in, and that'll be next opponent for Trick. Perhaps keep him out of the bloodline stuff. That's okay. We'll have to see. So yeah, NXT's been interesting. Over in AEW, real quick, I know we got the what are they calling themselves? Moxley's group. I can't remember off the top of my head. Death Riders? Maybe that's the projected name. They've been doing this whole, we're going to make AEW make AEW great again. Oh boy. We're going to restore the feeling there. And then there's the Hurt Syndicate, which is there, which is cool. You know, I enjoyed the Hurt Business for what it was in WWE. Definitely could have seen how they could have done more. Obviously, you know, I'm not the biggest Bobby Lashley fan, but I respect what he does. But good to see them succeeding over there. And then in terms of the Adam Cole stuff, I'm excited for Adam Cole to be back, but a little weird with this whole Devil story and MJF and not really continuing that. Well, they are continuing it, but it's this weird, awkward place if it's been maybe a little bit too long in between when those injuries happen, unfortunately. It's an interesting spot AEW's in right now. Now, I don't watch AEW week to week, so obviously take everything with a grain of salt, as you should be doing anyway, just my opinion. Hearing it from others, it doesn't seem like they're doing particularly well. There's always moments of good, but it seems like they're on a downturn in comparison to where they were, so that's too bad. I hope they can find that spark again, that fire. Not obviously that nobody's interested, but hopefully they can get the ball rolling again. They've obviously had great performances with Swerve, with Hangman, with Danielson, with Moxley, and, you know, they've had those moments with those guys, and big moments for sure, but hopefully they can get back on track where it feels like a lot of it is building the right momentum, and maybe these new groups coming in will certainly help that. Time will tell. WWE-wise, Survivor Series. So right now, I think there's 3 matches for Survivor Series booked, which comes up in a week. So we got the World Heavyweight Championship with Gunther and Damian Priest. Sure, that'll be good. I thought Damian got back to the title picture a little quickly. I felt like we could have done a little bit more of a chase there, especially with that whole weird, him and Dominic are going to fight. Dominic wins, he gets in the number 1 contender. Okay, great. Dominic wins. Then next week, Dominic's in the Fatal 4-Way, but guess who else is? Damian Priest. That didn't make sense to me. I'm sure the match will be fine. I wanted Priest to chase a little bit. I'm not sure who they would have put in that picture. I mean, Ilya would have been great, but poor man's hurt, so I get it. So time will tell. Time will tell there. Then we had the Women's War game that was set up as of last night. Pre-recorded as well, so you could have got spoiled on that. This one seems like a last-minute throw together, which, don't get me wrong, happy the women have their War Games match. I feel like almost the NXT women crew had a better thing going with that whole ECW week 5-on-5. But I get it. They don't want to set up War Games in 2 different spots on 2 different pay-per-views, so can't really do that. But we got Liv Morgan, Nia Jax, Raquel Rodriguez, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae on one team going against Io Sky, Naomi, Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and a returning Rhea Ripley. All the components are great. It's just thrown together a little bit. I know you got the weird team up now of, we were leading up to crown jewel, the queen, not the queen of the ring, but the ultimate women's world champion thing there. Liv and Nia were going at it, and then Tiffany was involved, and Raquel's the heater for Liv, and Candice is kind of friends with Nia. Now we're all buddy-buddy because we hate the good guys more, okay? And then you got the tag champs in there, fine. You got Naomi, she's been beefing with Nia Jax, fine. Io's in there because she's the number one contender for Liv, okie dokie. And then Rhea's back. Now, I love Rhea. Rhea's awesome. I was kind of okay with her being gone. Not like, oh, she's injured again. Like, I don't want an injury on anybody, but I was like, okay, you know, we'll walk away from this Liv Rhea thing for a while. She'll be back. Maybe the Rumble, maybe past that. We could do some different stuff. To have her attacked in the parking lot, which I thought was cool. I thought that segment was great. To have them do that and then do this whole orbital bone breakage fracture thingy and then say she's going to be gone forever, to just have her turn up 2 weeks later, if even that, I don't know the timelines, I think it was 2 weeks. It was just like, oh, all right. I don't know. I was like, oh, what was, I didn't get it. She's got the mask on now. She has what appears to be like a little makeup on her eye to make it look swollen red. I don't know. Is it a legit injury? I would think no, because they're throwing her back into the mix, especially with War Games. If it is actually legit, I am so sorry. Also, why aren't you chilling? A little weird there. Like, if you really needed a fifth, you could have thrown Kyrie in there, you know. I know that's maybe not as exciting as Rhea, perhaps, but you could have easily replaced Rhea there. You didn't need her there. It just seemed weird to build it up. Oh, it's a big injury. She's going to be out forever, and then she's back immediately. It's not the Super Cena pectoral muscle or whatever he did tear and then came back at the Rumble, right? That was, hey, he's going to be gone for, I don't remember, 9 months, and he's back in 3. Like, that's different. Like, nobody was expecting it, and it was a longer time. Holy shit, he's here. You could have done that with Rhea somewhere. It just was weird. So, while I'm sure the match is going to be great, like I said, all the components are good, I'm not super stoked in terms of that moment of storytelling. And the lack of storytelling there as well. Just, once again, oh crap, the ladies need a War Games. Throw everything there. We'll see. And then we got the big one, Bloodline v. Bloodline. We need a fifth member, which I think that's the only element I'm a little down on. We've talked about it in the past. Who would even be the good guy's fifth member? It doesn't make sense to bring in a newbie for a fifth member. I feel like newbies for the bad guys makes a little bit more sense because then you can instantly hate them. It's a little weirder to bring in a new person and be like, yeah, let's get behind you. But that's just my opinion. Unless it was like, I don't know, super established indie guy, you know, which could work, but regardless. So it's Bad Bloodline, Solo, Jacob Fatu, Tanga Loa, and now revealed Bronson Reed against Roman, Sammy, Usos, and they still need their fifth. It's alluded to that they're wanting Seth to be the fifth, which would make sense for the Bronson Reed storyline. But Seth at this point still says no as of Monday, which I get. That makes sense why he wouldn't want to do it, but I'm not sure who the good guys would get. I'm a mixed bag on this, the fifth member stuff. Bronson, I love Bronson. Push Bronson. Well, I've been a fan of him since NXT days. And then, you know, his New Japan run is Jonah. Awesome. Giving him this spot, weird, but glad he's involved. Mashing storylines together, smart. That's typically what I do in my WWE 2K GM mode, if I can. It makes sense. You get two payoffs in one, you know, two birds, one stone, right? That makes sense. So in that way, positive. In another way, negative. You're just filling spots. You didn't need to do 5-on-5. You could have done 4-on-4. That would have been fine. If Dwayne wasn't going to work War Games, which he'll probably show up after. He probably should show up after, so we know what the fuck he's doing since that Bad Blood, appearance. That's fine. I don't know who they even would have gotten for a 5th for the good guy line. Once again, as I talked to, I don't think Azilla would work. I don't think a Hikuleo would have worked. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. I think it's another one that we need the Bad Bloodline to win, right? If we're going to keep going with this story, which it seems like we are going to, because Dwayne will be making an appearance and building for Mania at some point, right? We got to keep this thing going. So if Bad Bloodline won and I needed them to win at Crown Jewel to keep this going, check box. Check mark. Oh boy. I don't know. Do they win here again? Or is it good guys win and then The Rock shows up with Heyman? Question mark. I don't know that. I don't see how this plays out. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be brutal. But yeah, the 5th member thing is kind of throwing me off there. It's exciting. I know I don't sound super excited. I don't know. This is what we've been looking forward to, is Bloodline v. Bloodline. But now I'm already thinking about the post-match implications. And, where do you go from here? Is it, what does Rock come in and do? How do they keep this going? Do the Usos go after God? Okay, they have a program. Tag titles aren't in the picture now. Jacob Fatu, what do you do with him? Sammy's on one brand, Fatu's on another brand. Not that that means anything, obviously, as we've seen here. But what do you, where do they split off and go? Does Solo and Roman go against each other? I don't think so. We've already done that. Does Rock Roman go against each other? Is that the plan? How does Rock get to Cody? How does Cody get involved? Could Cody be the 5th man here? He's not defending his title at the moment, unless him and Kevin Owens are doing a thing. Don't think that's determined yet. Speaking of Kevin Owens, do him and Sammy fight at Mania? I know some people would like that. Some people wouldn't be all about that. Kevin's in the right. Why are you being friends with the Bloodline in terms of numerous people? I get that. There's a lot of implications that I'm now thinking post Survivor Series, so it's a little tough to be excited for this match. It will be good. I want Jacob Fatu to do a moonsault off the top of the fucking cage. That would be nuts. I would super love, it will never happen, if Bronson did a super tsunami off the cage. Never gonna happen. That's just video game bullshit. But it's gonna be insane. I don't know who wins it. Like I said, either way, Dwayne's got a show. I think it makes more sense if good guys win, perhaps, and then he shows. But Bad Bloodline, regardless, I guess we'll get the upper hand at the end. We'll close the show with them. We'll see. Yeah. A lot of thoughts. Very quick thoughts. But everybody, this has been another episode of the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma911, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma911. You can drop a follow over there. You'll get notified when we go live, so you join the fun and conversation with us. But if you can't catch it live, that's a-okay. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and puts one big video and MP3 for amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, kinda. Any way you can support the show, like shares, reviews, whatever it is. It may seem small, but if you take the time to do that, it may seem small, but it does help the channel grow. So if you take the time to do that, we'd love and appreciate you for it. And then final reminder, guys, Extra Life 2024 edition is coming up on November 29th. That is a Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 24 hours of gaming to help out Extra Life and the Children's Miracle Network hospitals. So if you can help us out, watching, donating, spreading the word, whatever you could do, it would be awesome. Hope to see you there for all the fun and chaos. But appreciate you guys hanging out today, giving this a watch, giving it a listen, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.